Hello, I'm Mark Waldeck, the founder of Bounce Marketing, a Google Ads agency. Today, I'll be walking you through a Google Ads strategy if you are starting Google Ads for your e-commerce business. If you have any questions about anything, feel free to leave a comment below, or feel free to reach out to me directly through a LinkedIn DM if you'd like. So, for the agenda today, we'll be discussing search, shopping, display, YouTube, and go over everything in summary at the end. So with regards to search specifically, this is a standard best practice you'd want to do for any brand on launch. Now, this is under the assumption that we do have a built brand, and from that, enough significant search impression share on your brand. If you don't have, let's say, if you have less than 1,000 average monthly searches on your brand, I would say that it's probably better to not run a branded search campaign because organic, I'm assuming you're doing SEO for your business, you're going to rank organically anyway. So it could hypothetically be a waste of money if you're just getting started, right, and you don't have any built brand whatsoever. However, if you are running Google Ads, I'm assuming you have something of a built brand at this point and have ideally at least 1,000 monthly searches on your brand. So if you do, you definitely want to launch a branded search campaign to protect your brand. This allows you to rank first and stops your competitors from ranking first on your branded search campaign or your search keywords. Now, what does that mean? When someone searches for your brand on Google, you want to make sure that you're coming up first and that your competitors aren't, basically, to protect your brand. So branded search campaign, and what that means is you have one branded ad group, and within that branded ad group, you have exact match keywords that basically mitigates your irrelevant traffic. When people are searching your brand, they typically don't search your brand and much other terms along, let's just say, use Nike for an example. People wouldn't search Nike shoes near me, blah, 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 blah. It's usually just the branded name. So that's why we use exact match on brand. Now, if we are a humongous built brand at this point, again, this is a strategy more for people getting started with Google Ads. But you can break out your ad groups to exact and also have phrase match ad group on your brand as well if you are a more built brand. Now, with that being said, on launch, you want to use the bidding strategy manual CPC. Some people use max clicks. I like manual CPC because it's less likely to drive spam traffic. Basically, what this allows you to do is set the CPC, the cost per click, directly on your branded keywords so that you're showing up top of page, right? So you want to make sure that you're showing up first for your branded keywords. You can control that with manual CPC on launch. Now, we do want to aim for 95% plus search impression share on our brand as a goal. Now, once we have enough data in the account, month 2, month 3, we want to switch to target impression share on the lower performing locations. So if we don't have 95% impression share on certain locations, I focus on the US. I'm American, I'm from the US, so that's what I know best. So let's just say hypothetically we're in the US and we see in California, our impression share is really low at 70% or even lower than that. Or there's some specific states where we're seeing very low impression share. We want to aim for that 95%, right? We want to break out separate campaigns for those states or locations and launch with the bidding strategy target impression share to try to make sure that we're across, whatever 50 states or whatever states that we advertise or sell to, that we're hitting 95% impression share. Okay, so that's on the branded side. We also want to launch a non-branded search campaign. And something that we want to use is something called a dynamic search ad, and dynamic search ad group, covering all pages on the website, right? And so this is basically a way for us to cover anything that's possible on our website to be matched back to a keyword. So if you don't know what dynamic search ads, what they basically do is scan your web page and scan the content on your website and match that back to the keyword. Right. So basically, to put that into an example, again, let's just use Nike as an example. If you say, it's Nike running shoes, size 11, whatever it is, right? And that's content that's on your web page, on your website. And someone searches Nike running shoes, size 11, it'll trigger the ad because that content was on your web page, right? So that's basically a way to make sure that anything anyone searches that is relevant to your business, that is on your website, that is on your landing pages, gets triggered by our ads, right? So that anything that's relevant gets triggered. It's a way to cover all, right? Catch all. We also want to have specific ad groups. Now I say 3, 1 for each series. So I'm assuming, this is just an example for category. If you have 3 specific product categories, again, let's use Nike, running shoes, dress shoes, and one other, I don't know what other types of shoes, leisure shoes, I don't know. You have 3 specific product categories, right? That would be an example of how you would theme your ad groups. You basically want to break out your ad groups by something relevant, relevant themes, because your keywords within those ad groups want to be relevant to a theme, right? Like running shoes, size, whatever it is, right? Now we have the data, we would want to launch something after 2 to 3 months with those specific ad groups based on your business. Obviously, this is business to business based on how your business runs, product categories, etc. Now, we want to launch with phrase match to potentially test broad match months 3, months 4. Once we see the keywords that are performing, that are getting the conversions, that are doing well, want to expand, switch them to broad, right? Now, if you're switching from any keyword to another keyword, you always want to pause keywords, never remove them. Pause the keyword in phrase match and add it as a broad match. Now, never remove, because that removes the data in the account. Data in the account is golden. Never want to do that. Okay, awesome. So basically, the way to take one step back, you want to launch with phrase because it also potentially mitigates irrelevant searches. Now, broad match is doing really, really well with AI and machine learning bidding in 2025. So I am a big proponent of using broad match if we have the budget. And again, once we see those conversions coming in on certain keywords, we definitely want to switch them to broad. Okay, so same situation here in terms of the bidding strategy. Manual CPC on launch allows you to have a lot of control over the account. And then once you have enough data, you want to switch to max conversions, right? Now, a trick I like to use is you do need about 30 conversions in the account over the last 30 days. That number's thrown around in the industry to switch to max conversions or high bidding. But one way to basically use max conversions before having 30 purchase conversions, right? Because you want ultimately your campaigns to optimize for purchases, but we'll first have 30 add to carts before we have 30 purchases, right? There will be some people that click add to cart but don't purchase. Side note, those people, that audience that I just said, you definitely want to create an audience specifically for those people that added to cart, right? They got to the cart page, but they didn't purchase, okay? You definitely want to create an audience for those people and retarget them. So taking one step back again, you can set a conversion action to hitting that add to cart page, but not the conversion page, not the purchase page, and have your campaigns optimized for add to cart, right? Because I'll have 30 add to carts before 30 conversions. And so you can use max conversions, trying to get your traffic to add to cart. And then once you have 30 conversions, the purchase conversions, then you switch to have the campaigns optimized specifically for purchases and not add to cart, if that makes sense. Switch that last one to the add to cart to secondary. I say obviously, I don't know whoever's watching this, your level of Google Ads knowledge. Okay, next thing, a DSA page feed campaign. So as I mentioned before, in the dynamic search ad group, where it scans the content based, it scans your website and content to match back to the keywords. This does the same thing, except it uses your product feed, right? So we have a merchant center, your e-commerce business, you would know what your product feed is and the details of that. So you have your product feed within your Google Merchant Center. This, instead of scanning content on your page, it scans the content of your product feed. And you want to do this with all your products at first, right? So this is another layer, another way to make sure that anything that is relevant to your business is showing up on search, it's showing up on shopping as well. And we want to launch on max conversions. This potentially, again, you want to have enough data to launch on max conversions, and then switch to max conversion value once you, again, have enough data. This goes from getting as many purchases as possible to as many dollars as possible. That's conversion value. Now, competitor search campaigns. Somewhat controversial. I don't want to say controversial, but this is very business dependent, right? So if you're in an industry where people are willing to switch from one brand to another, there isn't much brand affinity or loyalty. If someone is searching for a competitor brand, you can bid on your competitor's branded terms and show up when people search for your competitors, right? So bidding on your competitor's branded terms could be a very cost. It could be, again, I put it forth as a test, because if your competitors, right, have very built brands and they're very aggressively bidding on their brand in terms to protect it, it would be very expensive. As like I mentioned before, if you have a built brand, you want to launch a branded search campaign and make sure you're showing up first. Your competitors are probably doing this if they're a large company. Now, if they're not and they're lazy, or they don't have a Google Ads agency or someone who knows what they're doing managing the account, you can bid on your competitors' branded terms. And this can be very cost effective because obviously if they're searching for your competitors, they're interested in what you have to sell. So it's a hypothetical way to get cheap cost per conversion, cheap purchases, and steal some of your competitors' impression share and sales. All right, so search campaigns extended. So this is just some best practices you want to implement in your search campaigns. Structured snippets allow you to show your best-selling products. Call outs allow you to show your unique selling points within your search ads, right? So if you have free shipping or something like that, you can add that as a call, whatever your unique selling points are. Site link assets, if you've been on Google before, I'm assuming you've been on Google before, you see those little links underneath your search campaign headlines. You got your headline description, and then you got your site link assets. That allows you to send to parts of your website that are different, landing pages within your website. And this is relevant if someone wants to, let's say contact us, right? That you want people to go to the contact us page to reach out. Or, your about us, rewards shop, whatever it is that you want traffic to go to that's not your home page, right? Okay, so add images to search campaigns to improve click-through rates. Just the best practice. If you show pictures of your products in your search campaigns, people see the products. It improves the rate at which they click. New customer acquisition goal. Now, this is very business dependent. If your business, someone purchases a product once and never again, you can upload the customer list and add that in as an exclusion, right? Because once they purchase, they'll never purchase again anything from your website. I'm under the assumption that this is relevant to your business. If that is, then you want to bid more for new customers, or if your customers are worth more, if your new customers are worth more than previous customers, you want to bid more for those new customers. Now, this is something you can do. Obviously, this is very business dependent. So if that doesn't make sense, in which case, for a lot of business, that doesn't make sense because people who purchase once, a lot of businesses have a large lifetime value. And once they purchase once, they purchase twice, 3 times, 4 times, etc. You don't want to do that. But it's something we can do if it's relevant to your business. Now, moving forward into shopping. Okay, so performance max campaigns historically, now, as of recently, they get priority over regular shopping campaigns. Okay, so this is relatively new. Google loves performance max. They're pushing it. It's their main product that they push a lot, and they do give priority to performance max. So with that being said, I like to, and this is what I would recommend for e-commerce businesses starting out, launch performance max campaigns with shopping only. So what does that mean? First of all, number one, all products, right? We're just getting started. So the citation will come after. Let me take a step back. So shopping only, what does that mean? That means no display assets, no YouTube assets, just shopping ads. So no search as well. We're not even running search. We're just trying to show up only on shopping. Now, the point of that, the reason for that, you're doing shopping only PMax, is because shopping ads typically hopefully, and they will, right, if you're doing everything right, drive a high return on ad spend, right? They're very profitable ad types. So on launch, we want to only show on shopping. We're using Performance Max shopping only instead of shopping campaigns, because there's also something you can just launch shopping, right? It's because PMax takes priority over shopping. Okay, so that's why you do that. Now, we want to launch with all products month 1. Month 2, once we have the data, this is where we can start to segment our campaigns based on, whatever is relevant to your business, right? So I had a client where they came to me and said, Mark, we have very high AOV products. We're not selling our high AOV products. It's a huge problem for us. We want to push more into our high AOV products. Then you might want to segment your PMax campaigns by AOV and push more budget into those higher AOV products, right? This really worked for them. Now, on a very high level, the way you want to segment your PMax campaigns is based on performance of SKUs. So you want to segment them month 2, say high and low. And what do I say by performance? Basically, the products that are selling, the products that are making you money. Okay, so your top half goes into one campaign, the bottom half goes into the other. And then months 3, once you can break that out into another level. So now you have 3 low, mid, and high performing SKUs, performing products, segmented, right, by 3 different campaigns. And this basically, allows you to push more budget into your high performance SKUs, your high performance products, and push more budget into where you're making money. Okay. So responsive display campaigns. This isn't something, I recommend you getting into until later, until 6 months, 9 months. No, this is budget dependent. I'm under the assumption we're just getting started with Google Ads. And in which case, on launch, you want to be as profitable as possible, which is why I said on PMax, we're running shopping only and not display, not YouTube right now, because we want to maximize our profitability in the short term. Now, once you want to scale and build awareness and things like that in the long term, this is where campaign ticks like display and YouTube can be leveraged. Now, there's other cases where I'd recommend display, specifically if you're launching display remarketing, display retargeting, where you're only you have, but again, this is under the contingency that there's significant budget. And you have significant amount of traffic to your pages, your website. You can run a display campaign only targeting that people who have, say, added to cart, right? But this is contingent on you having enough budget and traffic. So let's take a step back. I'm assuming you're just getting started with Google Ads. Around 6 to 9 months, we can launch display campaigns. And if you don't know what display campaigns, basically they're those image ads you see on the top, bottom, side, left, right, when you're browsing the internet and you're seeing, when you're on some blog or whatever. I'm sure you've seen them before. There's image ads. I like to compare them to modern day highway ads, right? So display ads are the type of ads where you'll see them. You're not going to make a conversion right away. You're not going to make a purchase right away. But it builds that brand affinity. It builds that awareness. For an example, you're driving on the highway and McDonald's launched the new barbecue McRib, right? You're not going to pull over on the side of the road now that you know the barbecue McRib is out and ready for purchase. You're not going to pull off the side of the highway to go to McDonald's and buy that barbecue McRib. You might. I mean, who knows? But the point of that ad is that so next time you're hungry, you're thinking, that new barbecue McRib is out. I'm going to go to McDonald's. That's the attribution. That is the benefit of display campaigns. Okay, so audience targeting. You always want to launch on observation mode. Basically, what that means is there's 2 modes. There's targeting mode and there's observation mode when you're launching a display campaign. Targeting mode is restrictive to only those audiences that you select, right? And that basically isn't as good as observation mode on launch, because on observation mode uses machine learning and expands based on data and AI and shows to other audience that it might believe is relevant. So historically, it is always just a better idea to use observation mode. Targeting mode is very specific to when you'd want to do that, expert only level. If we're launching, with viewable CPM, then we can increase and decrease bid adjustments accordingly at the audience level based on performance. We want to start with viewable CPM, get as much, again, this is 6 to 9 months in, where at this point, our goal is actually awareness. We just want to get as many eyeballs as possible. Now, once we have the data switch to maximize clicks, and bring as much traffic to the homepage as possible. Now, I'm assuming this is around month 7, right, of launching Google Ads. Then once we have a bunch of traffic to the website, we can use a retargeting audience, right? We can build a audience off of the people who have been to your website. Take that retargeting audience and launch a new display campaign only targeting people who have been to your website historically, previously from your ads. Now, again, this is contingent on having enough data. Okay. Oop, went too far. Custom audience placements. So something awesome we can do is create a custom intent audience for people who have actually searched for our competitors or visited their website in the past 30 days, 7 days, whatever it is, right? Time frame. So this can be really powerful. Right? If your target persona, your target customer is searching for competitors, searching in the market, they don't know what shoes to buy yet. They're on Nike.com, they're on Adidas.com, they're on Puma.com, and you are what's another On? Sorry, I believe they're called On or whatever running shoe company, right? You can target people who have been to your competitors' websites, who have been to Adidas, who have been to Puma, who have been to Nike. Shoes are the best, right? They're better than the competitors. And basically, again, steal some of your potential competitors' market. So that's something you can do. Create that audience for people who have been to your competitors' websites and search your competitors' terms, and then use that audience, attach it to your display campaigns, and they will show to people who are searching your competitors. Something else you can do is a customer list upload. And basically what that allows you to do is target people who are similar to those who you uploaded. So you want to upload people who have purchased on your website before, right? So you're targeting people who are exactly like your ideal customer because they've made a purchase. Now, the contingencies there are you need at least 1,000 people, and really it's more than that. Google, it's a minimum to even upload the list is 1,000, but realistically, you really need at least 5,000 emails for it to be worth it, to have it really improve your performance. The more data, the better. The more accurate the data, higher sample size, more accurate, right? The other contingency is you need $50,000 spent in your ads account to do this, right? So this isn't probably something you can do. Potentially you could do month 1 if you're spending 50K in the first month. I'm not assuming, everyone has that sort of budget, so it's something later down the line. Okay, so month 6 to 9, you can also create a custom intent audience for people who have searched top performing keywords. Obviously you have data to do that later on. And I mentioned many times before, create a retargeting audience for people who have interacted with your ads, visit your website. Definitely want to always do that. Okay, so YouTube. This is something that comes later on, again, months 10, months 12. Once we have established profitability, we want to scale up when we want brand awareness. This is a play, right? This is much later on. Skippable in-stream ads. So those are the ads that you see on YouTube the most, and because they're the ones that you see the most because they perform the best, right? Watching, you have to wait 5 seconds before skipping. Now, why are they great for advertisers? Because you only pay as an advertiser once someone has watched past the 5-second mark. So they basically self-select for targeting, right? If someone's watched past the 5-second mark, they're usually interested in what you have to say, what the ad is talking about, which is why they're really great as advertisers. So you always want to be running skippable in-stream. Audience targeting, target specific audiences, YouTube channels related to your niche of children's content, things like that, spam YouTube channels. And something you can do that's really awesome is create a retargeting audience for people who have watched more than 10 seconds of YouTube ads, or I say, at least 50% plus of your YouTube ad, create a retargeting audience for that. If someone has watched 10 seconds, they're definitely interested. They've watched 50% plus, they're definitely interested in your YouTube ad. So you can create a retargeting audience for those people. Now, best practice for YouTube ads, you want to have them around the 30-second mark. Do not have them be too quick or too long, sorry. And those first 5 seconds are key. The hook of the first 5 seconds are key. If you have any idea, specialize in making video content. If you follow me on LinkedIn or YouTube. So more than happy to, I love coming up with hooks, they're great, but that's a huge part of the success is obviously the video, your actual creative for YouTube. A couple examples I've done here, not going to play them out on this video, but again, the first 5 seconds are key to basically engage curiosity in the first 5 seconds, and they need to be about 30 seconds long. Okay, and that's about it. Projections are obviously very dependent based on your business, on your brand, you know, how new you are, how old you are as a company, what you've done outside of Google Ads or, you know, outside of digital marketing in general as well. So, but in general, you typically want to aim for about a 2 ROAS in the short term. Of course, that's the industry average, right? So, what does that mean? Every dollar you spend, you should make $2 in revenue. On average, that's what the average in the industry is, right? So we definitely want to do better than that, but that's what you can expect. Now, for an e-commerce specific business, because you are an e-commerce business owner, you do need a significant budget, right, to launch Google Ads. What is the minimum budget? Now, while there is technically no minimum budget, there really is a minimum budget. Now, I would say the minimum budget is $5,000 per month in ad spend to really implement the strategy that I just spoke about, that I just walked you through. Now, you can launch with less. I could say the bare minimum, right? The bare minimum is $3,000 per month to run, to have successful Google Ads campaigns in the e-commerce specific industry. E-commerce is a very competitive space. You know, you want to launch search, you want to also launch PMax shopping, right? So it does take significant budget to do that. We need enough data to learn to optimize for the campaigns. You want to also make sure that you are letting the campaigns run for at least 90 days, okay? So again, 3K to 5K minimum per month in ad spend and at least 90 days for your campaigns to run to reach that point of maturity for the campaigns to see how well they're really going to do, right? That's the 90-day period. That's the maturity period for the campaign types. Well, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciated you taking this time to sit and watch this video. If you have any questions, feel free to DM me, leave a comment underneath this video. And if you, of course, want to chat about working together, reach out, bouncemarketing.io, schedule a free consultation. We can talk about your Google Ads account. Thank you again. Have a great rest of your day and take care.